This is Sean with the Prepared Homestead. I'm sitting right now in our what we call our annual and perennial garden. Okay, it's a mix of annuals and perennials. Probably about 60 to 70% perennial and 30% annual. However, what we're doing over time is we're going to perennialize this completely. So no annuals in here. There's a couple reasons for that. Number one is it's sloped land, it's terraced, but it's a little bit harder to work, and we have areas that are in tighter to the home where we can grow the annuals that we want to grow. Plus, the system that we use is permaculture, which relies pretty heavily on perennials. Of course, it doesn't exclude annuals at all, but it is a perennial based system. It's easier to follow a lot of the principles when you have a perennial based system. So what I'm going to show you real quick is we're putting in some hazelnut that we grew from seed, and we've got some plum that we're putting in here. We've got a honeyberry that we're putting in, and then there's many other things that were already growing in here, and I'll show you some of those. Okay, so if we take a look behind me, you can see there's some apples, spaliered apple along that fence back there. If you take a look at the ground cover, it's pretty significant. We have a lot of weeds and everything else, but there's also a ton of strawberries all throughout here. There's hundreds of strawberry plants throughout this whole system. And I think last year we got 50 pounds of strawberries. That would be a conservative estimate out of here. Plus 50 pounds plus of cherries. We got a couple cherry trees in here. A bunch of plums behind me. You can see plums. And there's pea shrub and comfrey and elderberry and rhubarb and horseradish, etc., etc. So there's just a bunch of things growing in here, and like I said, we grew squash and pumpkins and that kind of thing in here as well, but we're perennializing it. So if this side right here behind me, that whole bed there is getting perennialized, and you can see, so if I hold this level, let's see if I can do that. All right, so you can see the slope. You can look at the fence back there and kind of see the slope. And that's one of the reasons why you can see all the ground cover that's in there. That's basically a cover crop, mostly clovers, okay, that we put in. And that's to stop erosion. This is not a good place to grow annuals on slope. I mean, it's just not. I mean, even though we're not tilling, we still will cultivate to some degree with a broad fork or something like that, or just disturb the soil you're constantly planting and that kind of thing. And that causes erosion, no matter how careful we are. So perennializing it will help that, definitely. We also have some terraced areas that are just fine for annuals, but again, we're moving our annuals in even tighter. This is pretty close to our home, but we want to move it in even tighter. And part of that is that we have fewer kids at home now, and so less requirement for annuals, and the fact that we just want to perennialize our system to create as much of a low maintenance homestead as possible. Okay, so let's see, I've already put some hazels in the ground. You can see here, yep, there's some hazelnuts down there, plum. Let's see, where's plum? There we go. There's plum. Let's see if I can show this. There we go. Right there. There's our little plum. And plum. And hazelnut, and hazelnut. Let me show you some of our hops. Our hops are just starting to grow up now. These things easily grow 25 feet per year, so they will go all the way up over this cattle panel trellis. They will go up on that shed right there over the roof towards the house. I mean, they will just take over. And here, nice little strawberry patch. Of course, it is weedy, and you know what? That's just part of our system. It's just lower maintenance. We don't worry about it, and we get good production. Maybe not as much production as if we carefully and meticulously maintained it, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to do low maintenance homesteading, and yet still get good production with lower inputs. Lower and lower inputs over time, hopefully. I want to show you, there's our comfrey plants doing wonderfully. And let's see, pea shrub right there. Plum, Italian plum, pea shrub. And this is a sour cherry. And in the back, Jerusalem artichoke. Back there, I don't know if you can see it very well. And then, let's see if I can do this. Yeah, right there in that back corner, you've got horseradish coming up nicely, and then big elderberry here. And then we're working on water systems and trying to get water. There's our pond we cut last year. It's a very small, really more of a silt pond for our bigger pond down there. Actually, there's a series of 4 ponds. That's a video for a different day.